seconds.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah. What is going on, everybody? Hello and welcome to On the Pipe Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson, and today is Wednesday, July the 20th, 2022, and you are joining me just in time for a brand new episode of OTP's Weekend Review with Stu. So, this is one that we've been wanting to put out for a couple weeks now. Stu obviously has had a lot going on, and he put on a race event at his own place the week after Snowshoe, but and then just some other stuff got in the way. But here we are. We're here. It's happening. It's a really fun conversation. I think you guys will enjoy this conversation. We just got done recording it. I apologize. This is coming to you on a Wednesday. As you can hear in my voice, I sound a little nasally. Sound a little under the weather, and that's because I am. I started feeling sick on Wednesday. So I started feeling sick on Monday night, like around dinner time. I was like, I don't feel right. And then I woke up Tuesday morning, and I felt like I got ran over by a big truck. So this is actually my second bout with the Rona, COVID-19. I had the OG-19. I was actually the first person that I knew personally that got it. Like, when I got COVID the first time, like, the health department called me. And, like, people were, like, sending me well wishes. And, like, my buddy Devin, who started this podcast with me, sent me a basket full of goodies and a basket full of snacks and food because everyone was terrified to leave their house. And, like I said, of people I knew personally, I was the first one to get it. And it was relatively uneventful. Like, I remember it not being very bad, especially, like, during the symptoms. I think I actually did a show when I had it. I think I might have done 2 shows while I had it back then. But it wasn't very bad. After my symptoms went away the first time I had it, I was just very tired for the next week. So, like, the following week, that was also when you got 2 weeks off of work when you popped for it. So, the first week, I was sick. Wasn't anything more than a cold. Like, I still went out and rode my dirt bike out here at my house and stuff like that. And then the following week, I was just zapped. Like, no energy, just slept literally probably like 18 hours a day. Just had zero energy, couldn't do anything. This time, these symptoms have been way worse. And also, like, I haven't known, obviously I was a safety guy. That's what I've been doing for the past years and years and years. And as everyone knows, I left that job in April. So ever since April, I've tried not to think about COVID. I've tried not to think about safety. And it's worked pretty well. But it seems like COVID was like, it seems like we beat COVID. Like, it was done. It was over. It was gone. We didn't have to hear about it anymore. And then now, in the past 2 weeks, dude, I know so many people that have had it in the past 2 weeks and several people that have it right now. So whatever this new variant is, I guess it's going around. It's hot and heavy. And like I said, the past couple weekends, I've seen all sorts of people getting it. So I don't know. I went out over the weekend. The KTM and companies, so KTM, Husqvarna, and Gas, did their Rev Summit for all their dealers. They brought all their dealers together and discussed new products. They do a demo day where they ride all the new bikes, and it's basically just a big networking event and big marketing event, and they bring in all of the riders. So all the factory riders were here, except Toth, which he posted on his Instagram. He actually had COVID, so he's one of the people that I know that had it. But so this was the first year that I'm aware of that it was in Charlotte. So actually went out with a bunch of those fellas on Saturday. So don't know if that's where I got it. Don't know if any of them have it. I hope none of them have it. But the way when I started getting sick on Monday, that's way too soon to happen from the weekend. So maybe I'm incriminating myself right now, but I should have left that part out. But no, so whatever the case, I got it, and it's going around. Long story short, sorry that this is coming to you on a Wednesday. Yesterday, I couldn't get out of bed, and even today, I've spent most of the day in bed, and really just sitting here now after an hour-long conversation, I'm starting to get cold sweats and starting to not feel very good. So we're going to wrap this thing up, and we're going to get into the show. But thank you guys for listening. There probably will be a couple coughs, and there probably will be a couple sniffles, so I apologize. I tried to stay away from the microphone when I did all of that stuff. But I must prevail. Talking to a guy that broke his neck and went and raced, and then broke his face and still went and raced, and so I can't say that I got the sniffles, and so we can't do a show. So we're here, we're prevailing, we're giving you an episode of OTP. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It is still very much right in the middle of Up to Something season. I know I keep dragging that out, and I know I keep pushing it back. I should have a go or no-go by not this coming Monday, but the next Monday. So not next week, but the week after, those weeks of shows, I will have a final, I don't know if decision is the right word. I'll know what is going on that week. Now, whether or not I announce it that week is to be determined, but I will have the answer of Up to Something season and all it entails by the week after next. But it'll probably be the week after that we unveil it, because we got to do some legwork. We got to put some stuff into it, because this Up to Something season is legit. It's big. It's a spectacle, and we got to treat it as such. Really exciting stuff. I hope it happens. If it doesn't happen, then I've spent like the last month and a half dragging you guys all along. So I feel good about it. But yeah, we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. But first, as always, Beta motorcycles. We talk about them all the time. I rode my Beta motorcycle on a motocross track at the Oz Ranch on Sunday, and that was after filming some fast fellas on Friday. So Friday, it was a fresh prep at the Oz Ranch, and it was Cooper Webb out there, Lyndon Snodgrass out there, Zach Osborne out there, Johnny Gerard, Craig DeLong, Rui Barbosa, Will Reardon. I knew I shouldn't have started naming these, because I definitely don't want to forget anybody, because they were all heavy hitters. So I'm wondering who I'm forgetting. Anyway, a lot of very fast guys, a lot of very fast talent, a lot of stuff to see out there. But they burnt in the lines on a fresh track on Friday. I got to film a little bit of it, and then Sunday I got to ride the track on my Beta, and it was the first time riding my Beta on a motocross track. And I have a 300, so you think of a 300, and the first thing that comes to your mind is definitely not motocross, but that bike is so good on a motocross track. I'm over 200 pounds, a little bit over 200 pounds, like 210. We're working on it. Cut me some slack. We're working on it. It's going down. But and I rode that thing in third gear, so like a gear high everywhere, and that thing would pull me out of ruts, out of corners, up hills, wherever I wanted. So the power on that thing is like a 4-stroke. It's easy, tunable power throughout the entire range, so you don't get that light switch hit. It doesn't go from bogging to wheeling or spinning tires. It's like a tractor, but it really, like, the power characteristics are like a 4-stroke. Like it has a smooth power band throughout the entire rev range, which I thought was very enjoyable. And also that thing, like riding trails, it's so flickable. It's so easy to maneuver and stuff. And then that translates to when you drop that thing in a rut, it's there. It made me feel like I knew what I was doing on a dirt bike, and that's certainly not the case. So had a really good time on that bike. But said all that to say this. that Beta Motorcycles is the official manufacturer of On the Pipe podcast. Beta Motorcycles has been family-owned and operated since 1905. They manufacture the finest enduro, trials, and dual sport motorcycles that are known for their premium quality and rideability. Beta motorcycles are the best-looking bikes on the market and back it up with their superior performance. Head over to betausa.com for more information on their available models or to find a dealer near you to get yours today. And halfway through that, I remembered Dylan Wolf. Dylan Wolf was also out there riding. He was fast as well. So those were the crew that was out there. And the reason I remember Dylan Wolf is because I met Dylan Wolf through this next fella. My buddy and financial advisor, Zach Tussle. So this episode, like always, is brought to you in part by Zach Tussle at Raymond James Financial. Zach is a racer and a financial advisor that helps his clients win when it comes to retirement and financial planning. If you or someone you know wants to save and invest for your future or is already retired and needs advice on income during retirement, Zach Tussle is always my first recommendation. Find out more by Googling Zach Tussle or on their website at financialadvisorsdenvernc.com. And Zach came out with us all in downtown Charlotte Saturday night too. And it was an awesome time. Had a good time with it. Like, anybody that was in that group will definitely attest that a good time was had. So it was cool. Got to see the champ. Ben Kelly is out walking around looking good, feeling good, in good spirits. So got to talk with him a little bit about hashtag leg probs between him and I. And obviously his is way more relevant and important than mine. But no, he was looking good, feeling good, dancing. So those are all good signs. But yeah, so Zach was out there with us that night, but it just goes to show that Zach Tussle is one of us. I mean, he's a racer. He'll be racing coming up. He's been racing this year, and he just happens to be a financial advisor. So it's kind of an easy transition or a warm introduction to people that are in our world that kind of want to learn more about financials and learn more about how they can save and things they can do to invest. And Zach Tussle is a perfect guy to reach out to and get those answers and more. So search him, Zach Tussle, on the socials or financial advisors, denvernc.com. Sorry. Tried to make it through that whole thing without coughing. But with that being said, I am fading. So I'm going to get off of here. We're going to transition this straight into this week's episode of OTP's Weekend Review with Stu. Don't forget, be a friend, tell a friend. If you like these episodes of On the Pipe podcast, let somebody else know. This is the OG off-road podcast, the number one source for all things off-road. We are at the heartbeat of the off-road world. So about to pick things up and hit this summer full steam ahead. So I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you listening, and appreciate you guys following us on the socials and subscribing wherever you are listening to this at. That goes a long way in helping me get my metrics and numbers and to see where people are listening from as far as geographic regions and how you're listening to it, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, whatever. So if you could subscribe wherever you're listening at, it does help me a great deal. And appreciate you guys being here once again. And I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Also, I keep remembering stuff. I got COVID brain. Leave me alone. I've been doing a lot of stuff on Twitch. So it's really been a lot of testing to figure out how we can make the shows, like the podcast, on video. So I've been doing a lot of testing on Twitch. I've done a little bit playing video games. So obviously, big Warzone guy. We've talked about it on the show and stuff. So a lot of times I end up playing Warzone on there. Play some Madden football every now and then. But on Monday, I actually went on there and shared my computer screen on Final Cut. It's the program I use to edit videos, and I dropped all the footage from Friday at that ride day with all the boys, and I was actually editing that stuff live. So kind of walked through my process of editing, how I look at film, how I break it down, how I put it together, and what goes into all the Instagram clips that you see. So like all the reels and everything that we put on there, and spoiler alert, it took 2 hours. So I streamed for 2 hours to make the 56-second clip of Cooper Webb that I posted on Monday evening. So if you saw that clip on our Instagram or an Instagram reel or Facebook reel of Cooper Webb, it was a 56-second video, and it took 2 hours to make. So keep that in mind next time you're sourcing out video stuff. And that's just what I'm doing for me, not getting paid directly or anything, just to pump out the channel. So I'm going to go through and make one of those edits for everybody that was there that day, so you'll see those coming out in the future. But I said all that to say this. Check us out on Twitch. It's On The Pipe Gaming on Twitch. I know a lot of people don't have a Twitch account, but you can make one. It's free. It's easy. But I'm trying to do more things like that. The idea for that is to not necessarily just watch me play Warzone. I'm not a professional gamer. I'm not winning every other game that I play. Just like I'm not a professional video editor. But the whole goal of that is to have an open platform. Their chat system and the way that they do things is really simple and really easy to use. And so the whole goal of doing those is to get everybody on there and kind of build the community, so that way we can chat about the show. So I actually went and played a Warzone for a little bit right before we did this show, and the goal was to have people come on there and say, oh, you're talking to Stu? I would like to know what kind of supplements he uses. I would like to know how his race at Snowshoe went. So that's the goal. And the video games or the video editing, it's mainly there to have something for you to look at. So if you want to look at it, you can. But the biggest thing is the discussion. I think it can be a really helpful tool to engage with you all and also get your suggestions and hear more of what you want to hear on the show, and even recommend guests and let me know people's backgrounds. Maybe it's an amateur rider you want to hear from. Maybe it's a pro rider you want to hear from. So trying to grow that a little bit. Check us out on Twitch, On The Pipe Gaming. It wouldn't let me change it. I put that in there, and it won't let you change it for like 60 days. So after 60 days, I'm going to change it to On The Pipe Podcast, so nobody go steal that username, or else I'll be very upset. I shouldn't even put the idea in your mind, because then you're not going to be able to change it for 60 days to give it back to me. So right now, it's On The Pipe Gaming, but check us out over there. Check us out on the socials, and I hope you keep listening to On The Pipe Podcast. I hope you get something out of these shows, and I hope you enjoy these shows. And I'm going to quit rambling now, and we're going to go straight to Steward Baylor Jr. So now, joining me for another weekend review with Stu, it is Stu Baylor. Stu, what's going on, man? Where in the world are you at right now?
I am in BFE in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, up in Coudersport, Pennsylvania. We show up. This is one of the races that I've got a few buddies up in the air, and the National Enduros usually give us a little bit of freedom to come up and have fun and a little bit more traveling for these. So we like to get the traveling out of the way, and we've met a lot of cool people along the way doing these over the last 15 years, and able to come to some cool places. So I'm up here to shoot this week, not test, not ride, but we've got a gun competition on Friday. So I'm going to do something a little bit different, but just mixing it up. And obviously I'll still do some riding this week, but just doing something a little bit different. And that's what I love about the National Enduros over the GNCCs and other series. You know, you get one day to race, and you can spend a little bit of time on the road and see some places you haven't been before.
Yeah, it's not like you get to pedal the track 18 times on Saturday or anything either.
Yeah, all I got to worry about is signing up and showing up. So aside from that, we, the National Enduros are pretty spread out. Like we got Marquette, Michigan, and Oklahoma, Missouri, quite a few that are in cool places. So we always try to go out a little bit early to those events and spend some time with people that we met along the way and doing different stuff and hanging out and trying to learn a little bit about each little area. I'm interested in that side of it more than when I was a kid. Like, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Like this area of the country is a lot different. It's very slow moving around here. I thought it was slow in South Carolina. It doesn't hold a candle to Coudersport, Pennsylvania.
It's a little colder up there. It's like molasses. They get moving a little slower. It just transitions all year.
Yeah, it's nice. We leave South Carolina, and and they say heat's heat, and 90 degrees is 90 degrees, 100 degrees is 100 degrees.
That's not true.
That is not true. And I can tell you, I don't know what it is, but it can be 90 degrees with 70% humidity in South Carolina, and you're miserable. It was 90 degrees here today and 70% humidity, and it was not miserable at all. Don't know why, but it's definitely 100% different. But at nighttime here, like it's 65 degrees tonight, so it's nice weather, unlike South Carolina where it literally just doesn't cool off. So no, it's actually really warm. Normally this time of year up here where we're staying is down in the 40s at night and 70s during the day. So it's a little bit abnormally warm for this race, but still nonetheless, it's something different, change of scenery, and pretty cool area. A lot of guns, and we've been shooting all day today, and we're gonna ride first thing tomorrow so that we can shoot the rest of the day tomorrow, leading up to Friday. We got to get all our practice in.
Yeah, I'm glad you circled back to that, because I was going to say before we got too far gone, like shooting is a big hobby of mine, and I'm sure a lot of people that listen to the show as well, given the nature of what we all do. Seems like dirt bikes and guns go pretty well together. But tell me about this shooting competition. What is it? What guns are we shooting? What kind of competition is it?
So this is a rimfire competition. It's ARA stuff, and basically you have 25 individual targets on one sheet of paper, a max score of 250, and we're going to play 2 rounds of it, and lowest or highest score wins. So
22s, is it long guns or pistols?
Yeah, it's going to be 22 long rifle for this one. It's all bench stuff. It's a little bit different, but I came up here last year and shot it, and it's very competitive. So obviously, being a competitive person, I instantly liked it. I wasn't very good, which on a bench gun you would think is like hard to not be good, but when you see the targets that we're shooting at, it's like literally a tenth of an inch, and you're missing a point. So it's a pretty fun. It's actually a really fun thing to do. And I bought 3 guns last year. I got my mechanic a gun, and then Randy Hawkins bought a few guns. So this fall we're going to be gearing up for a little bit more of this competition. I made a redneck shooting range down at the Shoals, and it's just too damn hot to do it in South Carolina right now. But it's definitely it's competitive, and it's fun, and it's something that other people can do. Like I can shoot with my wife, and she actually enjoys it.
Yeah. What kind of rifle are you shooting?
So I've got a few different ones. I've got a Remington, and then my favorite's my Voodoo, and then I've got a Turbo V3 barreled action. All basically custom builds. Badass, like very, very expensive 22s, like not squirrel guns.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot more competitive. Like when I was told we were going to a 22 shoot last year, I was like, oh, cool. Like, what are we going to do? Like, shoot at squirrels? Like, I don't know. I sit down, and like these guys are gearing up. They're like cleaning their barrels. They're rolling their ammo across the table to make sure it looks the same and all this shit. They're pulling out boxes, and I'm like, how much is a box of this ammo? They're like, oh, this is like $33 for 50 rounds. I'm like, aren't 22s fun because they're cheap to shoot? Like, so it's no longer cheap to shoot. And they're like, no, you don't want to shoot that cheap shit. I want to put that through my gun. I'm like, oh wow, all right. And I'm like kind of kicked back, like, all right, this is odd. And then I shot my first round, and I got smoked. And like Corey and I shot 230s, and everybody else is shooting like a 248, 249, and I'm like, damn, we really, really suck. So second round we shot a lot better, and then that afternoon we bought a few guns. So yeah.
Well,
it went south quick.
anything worth doing is worth going all in, I guess. What's
Yeah,
the
I'm bad
range?
about
What's
that.
the distance?
So it's all 50 and 100 yards is what we're going to do this week. So they do a little bit. They do a little bit more. They do some long range shooting, and a lot of these guys they shoot every day. So it's kind of a group of guys up here that they'll do some long range stuff. Tomorrow they're going to break out the 50 cal and we're going to shoot it. But every Friday they have a tournament and everybody throws in $20 and winner takes all. So it's a fun little thing to do.
Well, if all else fails, shoot the 50 cal at one of those targets and you'll get all the points.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There'll be no target left.
But man, no, that's cool. And I knew you were up there, so I just wanted to kind of talk about it and hear about what was going on. But it's been a little bit since we did a show. The week following Snowshoe, you were preparing for a race of your own down at the Shoals, the Verb Moto Shred Tour, and it kind of got pushed back. But I really appreciate your time joining us now. You even got a new phone. Sounds stupendous. Pun very much intended. But,
yeah, it was. I was not looking forward to buying a new phone. I mean, I have not bought a new phone in like 6 years, and I thought they were still like $999, not $1,500.
Yeah, cost of living's high and going up.
Yeah, that one hurt. Thanks, Joe. But yeah, it's good to catch back up. It's been wide open. We've had a hell of a few weeks and just trying to put out fires and it seems like every time I put one out, another one starts up. So the last few weeks between the racing going on, trying to get back in it myself, stuff going on down at the Shoals with the facility side of things and trainers and stuff like that. It's been a wide open month. Just haven't caught a break, but definitely good to catch up and go over everything that I missed. I guess, obviously Snowshoe's almost gotten cold by now, but there's still a decent amount to talk about. So catch up on that and everything else going on. Yeah,
for sure. And the one thing that I wanted to start on and about the Snowshoe thing is obviously it's your first GNCC back. That's the goal you set for yourself. That's the timeline you set for yourself. You said, I'm going to be back at Snowshoe, and then another injury happened, and it kind of pushed things back, but you still lived up to your word. You went out there, you raced Snowshoe, you got third place in the XC1 class. Johnny Gerard also made his return, gets third place overall, and the reason I bring that up is Mac Faint and Ken Hill both got the same photo, but it was you sitting on the side of the podium, waiting to go up on the podium, and you were sitting there right next to your bike. And it was a very powerful picture. I saw Mac's first, but Ken's looked equally as powerful. But it's one of those situations where a picture says 1,000 words. And everything that you went through this year, everything that you've came back from, and everything you put into being back at that race to get up there on the podium, in that picture, what was going through your mind thinking about all of that?
I was honestly just frustrated. I mean, I always want to win, and it's tough to when you get back out there and you know that you're still the fastest guy. It's just tough to not be in the center. And I knew. I mean, I obviously got into the overall lead by time adjust there for a little bit, and I mean, I had to go through 25 guys to get there, and I think around the midways of the race, and I called it. I mean, everybody that asked me what my projections for Snowshoe would be, so I said, I think that I'm going to be able to get up front early and then settle back around fifth place. And I knew I was going to fade, and I mean, I didn't have high I'm a realist. Like, I know where I should be, but it still sucks when you're not winning. Like when you have won, you know where you want to be, and you're not really there. And it was good, but I always want more. And I feel like over the last couple of years, I've definitely shown that I can accomplish a lot more. But on the flip side, I mean, I was back on the bike. I had ridden for myself really 3 days, and aside from that, the snowshoe riding, the university. So the week prior, I got on a bike on Thursday before the National Enduro. Still had fractures in my face. Like I'm still wanting to go after that championship, and obviously had a pretty good ride down there. And then I was able to ride one more time the week before the GNCC before we headed up and did the riding school. So no testing, no preparation. And, for me, like that was, it was just tough. Like I felt like I could have been better prepared. There was just a lot of little things that I was kind of pondering on. And, there was just a lot of little frustration. I mean, obviously you could see it on my face. Like I wasn't happy sitting there in third, and especially throwing away that third overall there on that last lap. I got stuck in a spot where just nobody was, and tried to send somebody out there, and I actually stopped with 2 to go to make sure somebody was there. And I guess they got lost and couldn't find the place I was talking about. I knew it would get bad. It always does late in the race, and just sat there spinning for like 2 minutes and threw away another position. But just all the stuff after a race, you start thinking back, and you think back even to the beginning of the year. But it was an okay day, but I was definitely still frustrated.
And so I kind of know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I haven't learned better at this point. But your expectation was 5th place. You get 3rd place, so you superseded your expectations. Why is that still frustrating, or were those the actual expectations?
I mean, I really don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Like I knew as a realist, I'm very realistic. So I knew where I should be and what I should be capable of coming off the couch, basically. And I knew that that's where I should be, but that's still not where I want to be. So, I felt like I left some out there. Like I definitely left some on the track. I had no intentions of changing a tire, and that's something that we normally don't do there. I've done it before, but no intentions of changing a tire. And my tire was absolutely gone at the end of that race along with most people. And, looking back, I could have made possibly a few different changes. And like I said, just better preparation on my behalf. And those are the things that kept me off the podium or the overall podium and possibly the center of it. And like I said, just little things. Like I felt like some of the things that I did during the race were I did things prematurely, and I'm a smarter racer than I was there. And obviously from the sidelines, like a lot of people don't see the little things, but when you get a mid lap pit board, like overall plus 20, and then for me, I'm like, oh shit, like I'm leading overall. That means I'm 20 seconds off these guys. I'm going to pin it. And I completely blew myself out there, I think around that lap 3, by doing something that I should have never done. I should have just stayed focused on what I was doing, made some mistakes, crashed a few times. And, just like I said, a lot of little things that I had to think about after the race. And I could have been better. I should have been better. But, that's my side of it. Like I knew where I should be. And that was, obviously better than where I thought I should be. But in my mind, I always want to be better. And that's the mentality that I have for it.
Completely understandable. And, so going through the whole thing and coming off of the couch and coming back into your race, I mean, I'm sure the adrenaline is there. I'm sure it's your first race back. You want to win. You want to do good. And I'm got to imagine all of that plays a role in it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got like
Make up for lost
the
time.
adrenaline side. Yeah. I mean, the adrenaline side. Like I made passes. Hell, in the first mile, I was already passing, pros from 10 seconds down. Like I'd already made 5 or 6 passes before we got down to Howard's Hole, and then I got to Howard's Hole, and all the fans were screaming, and it's definitely cool. Like I know I saw some of the videos, like in some of the sections, and like during the actual race, like I could have been in 10th place and the crowd would just light up for me. And I mean, they cheer for the guys that were battling, but that Snowshoe crowd, I definitely wanted to do more. And I get down to Howard's, they start screaming for me and throwing beers at me and all the stuff that I live for. And I choked and took a line that I had never walked. Don't know why I went there. Just saw XC2 kids up there. And I'm like, what the hell am I thinking? Like, why did I go off of my line? Because I got down here and saw some XC2 kids. And I don't remember it, but maybe I saw some boobs down there. I don't know. I mean, from your video, that could have been a very real possibility.
highly likely.
But no, I mean, yeah, the adrenaline, I haven't had that feeling in quite a while. And, snowshoe Ironman races like that are kind of one of a kind for that, where it's even that much bigger when you come down and like the crowd's kind of cheering. But when like I came down to Howard's Hole, the crowd went from like a 5 to a 12. Like they went over 10 for sure. I mean, it's cool as shit. And, you can hear people screaming your name and like that feeling you get as a racer, especially that first race back, it was a little overwhelming. So like I said, threw in a few too many mistakes trying to do it for the fans. But, all in all, it was still definitely a good day. And it was where it was above where I realistically should have been. With the amount of time I had on the bike, obviously we planned on having about 7 to 8 weeks on the bike at that point, after the neck injury. And then, we get slapped in the face with another 5 weeks off from the broken face, literally slapped in the face. But yeah, I mean, I definitely plan on coming in a lot more prepared, and I just came in kind of a little bit behind. And even the week before, we didn't even know if I was going to be able to race. And it kind of depended on what Lane was doing. And Lane had an injury he was dealing with, and when he opted to sit out, they were like, well, if you still want to race, and I'm like, say less, I'm there. Like, sign me up.
Carry the flag.
Yeah, it was I don't think we really made the call until middle of the week of the race. So that was part of it, but I was happy to be back and happy to get a podium and a paycheck again.
Yeah, I can imagine. You got a new 22 hobby to fund too. But
exactly.
No, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. It's one of the things I had written down, and I actually texted you the morning after Snowshoe about the crowd noise, because I chased you guys around trying to film stuff throughout the entire race. And I mean, from PowerPoint Hill to Howard's Hole to random places in the middle of the woods. Like you said, people would cheer and hoop and holler when the leaders and everyone came by, and then you would come by, and it was audibly different. Like the crowd was completely different. And that's just one of the things I kept noticing throughout the day. And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you about. So as far as that goes, like, how good does that feel? Especially making the comeback. You're out at round 1, you come back at Snowshoe right before summer break, and then to get that kind of reception like you never missed a race. What does that do for you during a race?
I mean, it literally it gives you cold chills. Your neck hair stands up when you come down the hill to Howard's Hole and you hear somebody yell, "It's effing Baylor," and then the crowd just blows up like that. That's definitely that's cool. And like, it, especially like Howard's Hole, it's gnarly, it's downhill, and like you can't you can't really be on the gas too much. And I mean, the crowd's definitely loud down there anyway, but when you can literally hear your name get yelled and the crowd just blows up like that. It's a definitely feeling like no other. And, to be the one with the fans and have those guys on my side, it's cool as hell. I mean, that's, I feel like I've worked hard to try to be relatable and show a different side to the plain Jane boring racer. And it's not me. Like, I'm not the boring guy. Like, I do a lot. I like to have fun, and I feel like a lot of us do, but a lot of us aren't allowed to show that side. And I drank just as much as anybody on Saturday night out there. Had to close the town down. So it was that stuff is cool. And to be one of the guys that a lot of people, especially like I said, Snowshoe, Indiana, and now Big Buck, like round one was really cool. But I have a lot of people come up and they're like, hey, we feel like we can actually ask you, but can you take a picture? Like, a lot of these guys, we don't feel like we relate with them. And I think that's been a cool part of my career. And, to not that I don't have good results, but to not be basically a Caleb Russell, it's cool to have those guys come up and show the appreciation and actually want to try to talk to me. And when you get that personal touch, like, I think that's why they light up when I come to those areas, and try to keep them as happy as I can and not piss off too many people. But I think sometimes maybe that's why I have fans. I piss a lot of people off too.
Yeah, and so it definitely does become a double-edged sword to some extent. Do you ever hear anybody like talk negatively to you in person? Because you are relatable to a lot of the people, a lot of the demographic that's in there, but there's also the people that like the other approach, the Dungies and the KRs and that kind of stuff. Do you ever get, I know you get it online, but do you ever get any of that stuff in person? Like, does anybody ever come and turn their nose up at you or anything?
Yeah, I've had a few. I mean, there's definitely the people that are like that. And, the problem with most of those people is they're guilty of the same. Like, it's usually somebody, like, half the time it's somebody that I know personally. But a lot of times it's somebody that's no better than the way they act. Like, they say that I'm setting a bad example for their child by some of the things that I do and say. And I'm like, okay, so your child has social media and they can see whatever the hell they want. They've got an iPhone at 10 years old and they can literally look up whatever they want. And I'm the bad example? Like, nah, I think you're a bad parent if you think that I'm a bad example. Like, I mean, I understand where they can come from, but, like, at the same time, I am old enough to make my own decisions. And, people are like, oh, well, that Baylor guy, he drinks, and I don't want my kid hanging around that or doing any of that stuff. And I'm like, son of a bitch, you drink. So what? like it's different because it's always that side of it, and it's like you hear these people saying things like that, and it's usually is parents with kids, and like they think that I'm just out partying every day. Like, nah, I get up every morning and I sit on equipment and then I ride, and then I go play with the kids in the pond and jump bicycles in the pond and try to entertain the group that we have there at the Shoals. And then usually I come home, play with my kid, and then go to sleep. Like but yeah, on the weekends, I'm a normal guy. You sit around the campfire drinking beer at the GNCC, I want to sit around the campfire drinking beer at the GNCC. So, it just works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but racing's fun. It's meant to be fun, and that's why we all got involved with it. And usually the people that are like that out in the open are no different than I am. They're sitting around the campfire having a beer as well. but it's different. It's different for them to have it than myself, because it's a bad example when I do it. So, but yeah, I've definitely heard it, seen it, part of it, and
very,
life goes on.
Yeah, very, very valid points to all of that. But that's what I was just curious. In a world full of internet gangsters and keyboard warriors, I was just wondering if you ever get any blowback in person.
Yeah, it's very few and far between, and usually it comes secondhanded. And I hear that so and so said this about me, and I just go and I ask them flat out. I mean, I'm not I have a lot of drama that follows me, no doubt, but I think it comes in the position that I'm in. But I'm not a dramatic person or a liar or a shit stirrer. I'm flat honest, and if somebody thinks I'm talking shit behind their back, I'll say it right to their face. So, usually if I hear something, I just go and find the source and I say something then. And sometimes they have the balls to tell me what they said and either state their point or apologize. And other times they tell me that it's a lie, but usually it's not. So, but no, I've definitely caught my fair share. And like I said, usually it comes from people that I know personally. More often than not, it's somebody that I know personally, and I know that they're the type that likes to hold their nose up. So, but part of it, and like, I can't please everybody, but I feel like for the demographic of GNCC, GNCC, they're 70% male, and 70% of their following is 18 to 30 years old. Guess what mine is? The same exact. So I fit in with the crowd that we have there, and feel like it's a good thing. And a lot of racers are missing out on it, but everybody can't play that card.
Yep, that is 100% true. And whether they like you or don't like you, they can like you one week and dislike you the next week, and both weeks you get paid. So
yeah, yep, you're right. So I'm one of the fortunate ones in that parking lot that can make it a job, and at the end of the day, a lot of people don't realize it, but I don't have too many enemies at the top. I mean, I've got a good relationship with most people in the industry, and not saying that all of them would like to work with me, but they all want to drink a beer with me.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things too, like when we first started doing this show, especially on a weekly basis and kind of talking more in depth, that was a lot of it, is people hearing more of your side. So I think a lot of people have come to understand it better with you explaining it, and a lot of people have tuned in to hear more of what you have to say. But I don't know, it's just you're as we were talking about with the crowd noise, I don't think that your fan base is going anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere anytime soon, and I'm just hoping that we can keep growing it. And I feel like there's football fans that don't care about the score that went to watch one of the Mannings play, and I think that with the right persona, you can definitely grow the industry. And I feel like there was a lot of motocross fans that never rode a dirt bike that went out to watch James Stewart or Ricky Carmichael or whoever it may have been. And I know that some of the guys, when you look back, like some of the guys who still have the deepest fan base are guys like Chad Reed and Kevin Windham. And they were never a Ricky Carmichael or a James Stewart. They were themselves. So, to me, I feel like that personal touch. I mean, I'm a big Wyndham and Reed fan. Like those are my guys. Like I remember going down to party in the pasture at Wyndham's place and like watching Reed go out in the crowd drinking with people he had never met, like just a normal guy. And this was 2010. So like he was still a competitive racer. And just out and about like a normal guy. And even when I'm like, he was not the most winning rider, but I feel like he's got that deep personal touch with the fans. And, that's what I'm after. Like I want to be an approachable person. And at the end of the day, it's just racing. It's all gone sooner or later.
Yeah, true. But it's cool to be able to build a following that you can continue outside of the racing world as well, which I think is what your branding is doing a good job of. But even speaking of that, so you were on the T-shirts for Snowshoe. When did you know about that? Like, when do you find out that you're going to be on the T-shirts, and how cool is that to be on the shirt your first race back?
It was definitely cool. I didn't know about it until somebody sent me a picture of the T-shirt, and the T-shirt, if you zoom in closely on the Howard's Hold T-shirt, there's a tape measure in my hand.
Yeah, I didn't see that until you pointed it out.
Yeah, so I didn't know about it. Actually, Tim Cotters, that's how I found out about it. I didn't know I was on the shirt. We were at the Yamaha University, and Tim Cotter was zooming in on this T-shirt and laughing about it. And he's like, "You got to come check this out," and showed me the T-shirts for the weekend. So I was actually already up on the mountain before I even knew about them. But yeah, it's cool because that was a huge weekend, and I definitely like seeing that and like seeing people out and about. Like I was in a Walmart, middle of nowhere, a couple days ago, and ran into somebody with a Baylor heavy hat on. So when I see that stuff, like I usually crack a joke. Like the GNCC shirts are a fun one. Like walk up to somebody and look just do it very awkwardly. Just be like, I look pretty good on you. Just walk off. Like most people do not know who I am. Like the people that you see out in public that have the GNCC shirt on don't have a clue who I am without my helmet on. Like if I told them my name, it would completely blow it. But in South Carolina, I've obviously been on the Big Buck shirt quite a few times, and I've seen a lot of Big Buck shirts out and about, and even in my hometown, a lot of people literally just don't know what I look like. So I'll just walk up to somebody randomly and just awkwardly say, I look pretty good on you. Just walk off. But no, it was cool to be on that. And, GNCC definitely shows a lot of support towards me, and the whole series does. And it's pretty cool. Obviously, we've got the same fans. So, it's cool to have Tim come out, and he found me in the crowd there Saturday night, and let me finish off the performance for Saturday and Friday night as well. So, it's definitely fun.
Yeah. So I saw you up there Friday night, letting your hair down, having a good time, and I was like, oh look, it's Stu being Stu. And then Saturday night, I'm just like hanging out, talking to a couple people, and I hear you on stage, and I was like, it's Saturday, not like the race is tomorrow. And then I went up and saw you afterwards, and it was right when your phone died. So I have a video of you from that night for the HBO special. But oh
God, what did I say or do?
You were in the middle of a rant about all the beer and all the people, and your phone died, so you continued your rant on my phone. But that's what I wanted to ask. So that was the night before the race. That was Saturday night. Like Friday night is like, okay, I've seen you smash a beer over your head on a Friday. And then Saturday, you were in tip-top form again. So it leads me to my next question. What is the perfect, the right amount of beer before a race?
If I could remember, I'd tell you. No, normally I like to, I don't know why, but every Saturday night, the night before a race, I usually drink 3 beers, and that's it. Like I'll drink 3 beers, go to bed. That's it.
That happened at Big Buck.
It normally does. That's normally exactly what I do. I just stick to my routine. At Snowshoe, and Ironman, it's just a different vibe. And I set out for 3, and then before you know, a lot more than 3 go down. So I'd love to tell you the number for those races, but I would honestly be making it up if I tried.
So a typical race, 3 is the magic number, but an atmosphere race, there's no telling. Play it by ear.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I've had good results at both Ironman and Snowshoe, just as good as any other track. So realistically, I mean, who's to say that the number could be higher? Maybe I need to move the mark a little bit.
You never know till you try.
But no, like I said, the weekends are meant to be fun for me, and I've been one of those guys. Like, I get my work done through the week. I'd say I work just as hard as anybody at it. But I'm not going to change every aspect of my life to do it. I still have a life. I still enjoy it, and I still enjoy racing. So I've always felt like the second that I take the fun out of it, my results soon follow. So I've tried a little bit of everything, and I know what works for me, and I know what routine works, and I just try to stick pretty close to it. And as long as it's working, I'm not planning to change it. If it stops working, we'll talk. But for right now, there's no need to change it, and unless I'm going backwards.
Understandable. I get where you're coming from. So one of the other things is, and I kind of wanted to ask you a double part question about this, and it's about another competitor. So I hope it doesn't bother you that I ask you, but Jordan Ashburn got his first win, and I feel like Jordan Ashburn's a pretty underrated, just all around racer, just because, kind of like we were talking about earlier, he doesn't necessarily have like the presence, and he's okay with that. But as far as outside of the track or off the track, but he got his first win, and I know talking with him and talking with some other people and stuff, it seems like the satellite teams don't necessarily get nearly the support from manufacturers that like a factory team would. And I know you've been on a lot of those satellite teams, so I just wanted to ask, like, as an overall industry perspective, what's your opinion on that? Like, is there a noticeable difference between satellite team support versus the factory guys, or is everyone pretty willing to help out?
It's hard to say. Like, obviously, I think that some of the reason that Jordan is an underrated rider is because he's on a satellite team. With that being said,
but I mean, 2 years ago he was factory Cowie.
What's that?
2 years ago he was factory Cowie for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I'm bad about it, and maybe I'll put my foot in my mouth right here. But realistically, in GNCC and National Enduro, if you're not on an orange bike, you're not getting the publicity. It is changing. It definitely is in the last couple of years. I think that everything's kind of swinging a little bit, but Jordan was never on the factory KTM team or on a KTM, and the camera always seems to follow the KTMs. Whether it's photographers or videographers, you see a lot more on the KTM side than anything. I think it's because of the KTM umbrella, the amount of money that they put into it to make that happen and make sure that does happen. But I think that's got a little bit to do with it, and also he's always been very quiet, not very vocal, but he is underrated for the amount that he's actually, you look back at his career and he has had a really good career, but a lot of people have overlooked it just because he's not as vocal. And I think a little bit is the teams and when he was on the teams. I feel like he was on the team, on the Cowie team a little bit early, and now the Cowie team's kind of, at that point, they were just another new team that had popped up. And
first year,
what's that?
It was the first 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so, at that point, I mean, hell, we see a lot of new teams pop up every few years. There's another one, sometimes there's 3 or 4 that come up. And, it's never something that the media is going to follow and push a little bit hard on just because are they here today, gone tomorrow? Possibly. So, I think that that's got something to do with it. And then as far as the support goes when you're not on a factory team, that's a tough one. Yes and no. It depends on what team you're riding for and what the owners want to do. When I was with, like, let's say the Teely team, for example, or SRT, I still had factory motor services, the cone valve track shocks. I was on a factory bike. I still had a mechanic. So the support obviously is another level up when you're on the factory team, but I don't think that it's that much less when you're not. Where the support is kind of lost is the financial side of it. Like a lot of these teams, like a Magna One, that maybe they are, but I just doubt that team is making money. I think that Landers just really loves the sport and has made enough money off of some of the sponsors to make it to where he can justify running a team. But I would say that he's losing money on that team every year, and he just loves racing. His kid races. He loves the sport, and he's all in. No different than like the Todd Ely's out there and the Bicons and quite a few others. But I do think that the industry screws those guys. Like, I think that, if a man shows up and shows that he's willing to support it and buy a rig, that, the manufacturers should throw a lot more money towards the ones that are going to do things like that. I think that the bike sales could justify it. But instead, we just send more semis to the races and fill more spots behind the scenes that a lot of times don't need to be there. We've got 20 people doing marketing, but then realistically, a lot of the marketing is never seen. And on top of that, the rider's job is to do the marketing. So, I think that there's a little disconnect in the industry as far as that goes.
Understandable. What about you for next year? Have you gone into any more talks or any re-signings or signings, or do you know where you stand for next year?
I spend hours on the phone every day with my agent, who we've discussed. I said that we need rider representation. So I've got an agent now who works with Chase Sexton and a few other riders, and it was I think a good move, and hopefully in the future will help our little slice of the pie, our off-road industry grow, especially financially for the racers that make it up to the top. But we're definitely still in negotiations. Nothing signed at this point, and the main thing is just focusing on the racing, and that was another reason I got with him. Basically, I want him to be able to take care of that. I don't need the extra stress of going back and forth and negotiating with people. It's much easier to have somebody like that take care of it, and put your trust in them, and in that case, like he worked for Thor and quite a few other companies over the years, and now he's working with some top name guys and a pretty good firm, a firm that's also with Roxon and quite a few other top riders. So you're backed by attorneys. It's a better situation all around for the riders and the riders that are making a living off this, and hopefully more riders are kind of follow my lead.
Yeah, I hope so too, and that's awesome because, like you said, we've weekend review with Stu thing started on a conversation about agents and representation, and it's been something that we've talked about on here as well publicly. So it's cool to see someone taking the first step and going in that direction. So I hope that having that representation or having an agent will help you get in the best case scenario that you can be in for 23.
Yeah, I hope so. And for years, moving forward, I think I think if other riders start to do it, I mean, the thing is, if we can get some of the younger guys to go ahead and start getting representation there, all it takes is one guy knowing two numbers to run up the numbers. If one guy works with two riders and let's say three teams negotiating, he now knows the numbers, and he now knows, we can sit down and we can run numbers and figure out what is this rider worth? How can we move this number? So I don't think that I'll see the change financially in my career. But I think by the time, later in my brother's career and some of the other riders, I think that we'll start seeing this hopefully pay off if other riders will jump on.
Yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things too that kind of going back and forth, and it's something that I've thought a lot about. And right now, I think the biggest thing is exposure. There's really nothing that's enticing for, especially like outside the industry sponsors or even sponsors to throw out big money, because what are they getting in return? I mean, basically the only coverage that is in this sport is the 7,000 people that watch Racer TV and the people that like listen to this podcast. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of ways that people consume it, and that's also it's a destination thing to begin with. You don't flip through YouTube and Racer TV gets recommended on your feed, just like On the Pipe podcast doesn't get recommended on your feed. But you can be changing the channels and just stop on an NBA game, stop on an NFL game, stop on a UFC fight. So I think one of the biggest things to really pump money into the industry is finding more ways to get exposure. And I mean, that right there is the root of why I wanted to start this podcast to begin with, to bring more exposure, like on the level that even Supercross and motocross are. But it is still up to something season, so hopefully we can help on that front as well. But no, it is cool to see you make that step. But I mean, so how have things been with the agent so far? Like as far as initial discussions and what you're looking for and how receptive he is to it, and I guess how's that process going? You've been in this for a long time, and this is the first time you're not negotiating the deals.
It's been good. I mean, obviously he still bounces everything off of me, but, it's cool to see like he'll take numbers, from two different offers and throw them on a spreadsheet and show me numbers based on previous results, numbers based on if I were to get injured, numbers based on if I were to win everything. And kind of break that down, and he's definitely opened my eyes to a little bit more on some different things, and that side of things is really cool. I normally I'm very black and white, so for me, I do normally like to run numbers, and I'll sit down and do pretty similar things, but it's a whole hell of a lot easier to have somebody else doing that stuff. So, just my current workload, like we have, yesterday when I left the Shoals, we had 17 riders. So, I've got a lot more going on, a lot more to worry about than talking to 100 people couple hours a day. So, yeah. That side is definitely helped clear my plate a little bit. And, even like we looked at like, all right, what are the chances, we go back to like a satellite deal or do our own thing. Like what is it worth it or not? So, running numbers and that side of it with him it does take a lot of time off of me, and that side of it's cool. But, a big thing is the legal side. I mean, obviously with the Sherco situation and some of the other situations that have happened with some of the riders in the past, I feel like having agents to have your back is definitely a big thing. I mean, it's very easy for somebody or a team to screw a rider. Like it just is. I mean, if you read my contract, you would laugh and wonder why the hell I read or why I signed it. Like when I took a contract to attorney and to an attorney in the past, like they're like, wait, so everything protects the team. What protects you? I'm like, my helmet. And then they're like, well, it says right here that the helmet and goggles can be determined by the team. I'm like, well, I hope they pick a good helmet. But no, I think that side of it is something that we definitely need, and hopefully, like I said, other guys follow my lead.
Yeah, we can only hope. When you get more money for everybody, that's the goal. But a couple more things here, and then I'll let you go. Like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, especially with everything you have going on. But the ISDE teams were also announced. So were you in any discussions this year as far as going over there, given all the injuries and everything that you've done? And how do you like our chances from the teams that we got?
Yeah, I was in discussions, and I really wanted to go earlier this year. It was discussed. It was Lane and I were both probably going to go. We were trying to run everything through, and then injury happened at Big Buck, and that kind of put a hurting on things. And then we started actually talking a little bit more about it when Taylor got injured. And I believe I injured my face like right after that. So it was just another issue. And after that, I decided that I'm really not a superstitious person, but I decided after that, I think that the ISDE team this year is jinxed, and I didn't want to even talk about it anymore. So that's kind of after that. I was like, you know what? Even if I get a call again, like this year is off the table for me, because you look at the guys that they picked, and I guess obviously the announcement may have been made afterwards, but like Taylor, myself, Ben Kelly, Lane, like anybody that they talked to. Now Caleb with his knee. I forget, there may have been one or two other ones, but like it seemed like whenever the call was made and somebody was discussing ISDE, they got hurt. So I was like, nah, I'm out this year. Call me next year.
Ryan Sipes, Dad. I mean, all of you guys have been on the winning teams.
Like anybody you would think of for ISDE, they're hurt. So, it's I didn't want to discuss ISDE any further.
Well, knock on some wood at least after that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But yeah, man. Other than that, I mean, I saw you were up at our buddy's place up there, Steel City Men's Clinic. How was that trip? What was that contraption that they put you in?
I don't actually know. Tracy said, "Hey, you should lay in this thing for an hour with all your injuries. It should definitely help." I didn't get any science behind it or anything like that. I just laid in it. I don't know if it helped or not, but I believe that a lot of the things that they do are good. And I was just going by. I got with those guys, and I got an IV this week. I was feeling like shit, and just run down tired. So I was stopping through, and I've seen a lot of people are using those guys. I see a lot of it in the industry. So
yeah,
wanted to stop by and see what their place was all about while we were on the way up here, and got filled full of vitamins and ready to roll.
Heck yeah, I'm a patient of theirs myself. So yeah, it's pretty widespread how far they've gotten and the things that they're doing for people is pretty cool. That's why I thought it was cool when I saw today that you actually got to stop by and visit the old office. But obviously, priorities this weekend. We got a shooting competition on Friday, and then once that is done, might bust out at a dirt bike race on Sunday. This PA track, I've heard a lot of mixed opinions. Some people hate it, some people love it. People I know in Pennsylvania hate it. What's your opinion? How do you like this track?
It's one of my favorite rounds of the year. It's a really cool venue. It's usually really good dirt, technical, difficult, but short test. It's fun, open, flowy woods, but not necessarily one of my strongest events. I'm definitely solid there. I'm usually on the podium there, but I haven't won it since I think maybe 2016. So, not one of my hottest events, but it's I'm usually solid. I like the track and I have a good time up here. So, I don't know if I judge enduros by the area, but I think I do a lot of times. Like Tulsa, I get to deer hunt before. Missouri, I can go turkey hunting and go hang out at the state park and ride there and axe throwing and all that. So like here I get to shoot guns and bullshit and ride UTVs. So, maybe I'm judging the track based off of the fun week that I have normally leading up to it. But no, I think that the track's actually really good. It is a really good place, and I just hope that it treats me well, and maybe I can click off another win here. It's definitely been a while.
Yeah, that'd be cool. There's no better weekend to do it than this weekend. You know what I mean?
Yep. No time like the present.
Exactly. Oh, one last thing before I let you go. Did you get an answer back from the team? Are we gonna see you in downtown Nashville on a YZ 252 stroke in a hard narrow straight
anything rhythm? About that? I just want to go for burnouts and loop outs. I don't even want to race it. Like I just want to line up, burn my tire off, loop the bike out, and go hang out with the crowd.
I mean, that sounds equally as fun.
I think that would actually be a badass event. Like I've been talking to my uncle about doing something like that at the Shoals for literally years. We've discussed it, like a straight rhythm enduro cross and how to lay it out, everything like that. But we were talking about doing it at a motocross track, not in the middle of downtown Nashville with bachelorettes going on. Like, I've definitely got that one at the top of my agenda. I'm going to have a phone call about that next week to see if we can't get a bike together.
You mean to tell me that Broadway Street down the center of downtown Nashville wasn't a location that came into your mind for a track venue?
Yeah, definitely not. As a matter of fact, come to think of it, no.
Yeah, so there's two events that every single year I say that no matter what, I'm not missing that event next year. TKO is one of them, and Vintage Days is another one. And Vintage Days, it's going on this weekend. I was so stoked about it. I even bought a couple old bikes to bring up there and sell, and then I get COVID. So I'm out for Vintage Days, but I saw the downtown Nashville race, and that definitely solidified that I'll be at the TKO. So I hope to see you there on a two smoke as well.
I hope so. If everything goes well, I'm definitely going to try to make that one. I haven't run up there and competed in that event since, I want to say 2016. So
they got Ricky a bike when he was on Yamaha. He went and raced it.
Yeah,
and then they gave the bike away.
Whibley actually did it on a 450. So maybe I'll just go absolutely ruin a 450.
There you go. Throw it in the storage box of the camper and head on down to Nashville.
Dude, just wait till you see our pack job this week. If you thought the storage compartment was cool or crazy or whatever, wait till you see this shit.
Uh-oh.
It is over the top. We have got 3 guns, 4 spare wheels.
Before
2 tires.
Any police officers listening right now, this is 100% made up. It's not true. Go ahead.
Yeah, correct. Spare tires, 2 bikes, 2 gear bags, 3 sets of boots, 2 helmets, 2 goggle boxes, a tent, a generator, 2 gas cans, 2 bike stands. I mean, the list goes on. And we fit all of this in the smallest Ford Transit they make, that little tiny thing.
No. Okay, Stu, you just named a lot of stuff. Maybe you're mixing something up.
Most people all know that you can fit 2 bikes in there.
That's maybe you're mixing something up, because I know you're not talking about all of that being in a Transit Connect.
Dude, just wait till you see this. Just wait till you see it. I'll send you the video.
Is it a Transit Connect pulling a 16-foot enclosed trailer?
No, it's just a Transit Connect.
Oh,
this thing is so weighted down. The tire, like another inch, and it would sit on the tires. We were going up hills doing to the floor, and it wouldn't do over 60 miles per hour redlining.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she is. She was hurting getting up here.
How are you gonna fit an overall trophy in there on the way back?
We've got a roof rack.
Now, hey, if you win this race,
just kidding. The roof rack's full.
If you win this race and strap the trophy to the roof. Oh man. Well.
Yeah. Wait till you see the video.
I can't wait.
It was after both the bikes were already. Yeah. So good stuff.
I'll send you the video of Snowshoe.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Send me whatever I took on your phone and stuff, because I honestly don't remember.
And keep in mind, this is 12 hours before you got 3rd place.
Oops.
At the race.
Shit happens, man. Shit happens.
Hey, man, I still the second day of that full gas to end the season in West Virginia. Dude, I don't know how I just stood there with a microphone all day, and I definitely don't know how you went out and torched everybody for day 2.
Dude, I think I was going so fast because I couldn't pay attention to the trees that I was going around. Like, I just didn't know they existed. Yeah, that was the fastest I've ever run. Like, I would overall a day on ISDE riding like that. Like, I don't even know what I was doing differently. But
making dirt bike noises in your helmet.
Yeah, it was, yeah. After all that moonshine that we had, wow. I had videos of you doing a backflip off the stage.
Yeah. That night got crazy. We put on a concert for everybody, but if you could ride after that, when I saw you Saturday night, I wasn't worried about anything.
Yeah. Normally people are like, hey, did you drink last night? And I'm like, no. Oh, we're good. Yeah, they're like, oh, shit. Well, yeah, I'll let you get back after it, and we'll catch up. We'll catch up after the weekend.
Cool, man. Thanks for your time, and good luck this weekend, and we'll chat with you Monday.
All right, sounds good.
See ya.
Bye.